Welcome to the 2K Sports Studios. I'm Greg Gumbel, along with my partner Clark Kellogg. Coming up on College Hoops Tonight, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. We'll reveal which head coaches may be on the hot seat as the season nears its conclusion, as well as show you the best action from around the nation. But first, we give some of the little guys their due respect with our list of the top 10 mid-major teams in college basketball.
I just love talking about the non-power conference team. This is the kind of stuff that gets me fired up for March. A couple of these teams have the potential to be very dangerous in the tournament. No one more so than the team at the top of the list.
St. Mary's is setting themselves apart from the other mid-majors in more ways than one, but what really impresses me is their imposing strength of schedule. They've adopted the anyone, anywhere scheduling philosophy, and it's transformed them into a very dangerous opponent. There are always a number of coaches at this point in the season who are under intense scrutiny from the fans. How big is the hot seat this year, Clark?
It's more like a couch right now, Greg. You know how hard it is to please those alumni.
The USC coach has had a tough go of it this year. You could argue that he hasn't been around long enough to really build a team to fit his style.
Yeah, it takes time to build momentum in the recruiting game, and he hasn't had very much of it. But that's no excuse any longer. You've got to get it done in a hurry, because it's all about win now in the NCAA. The demands that are placed on a coach at a major program like this one are extremely difficult to deal with. So much more goes into the job than just coaching, and I think he has really had trouble juggling everything that goes along with being the head man at a program of this magnitude.
There was no shortage of excitement on the court in the past few days, so let's take a look at our games of the week. We had a pair of top 25 teams in an old-fashioned grudge match. Duke did away with Boston College.
The score might not have been close, but I don't think that's an indicator of how similar these teams are talent-wise. It was just a matter of one side having an off night at the worst possible time. McKnight was absolutely unstoppable. His 23 points led all scorers. Watching him basically put his teammates on his back and single-handedly carry them to the victory in a big game situation like this was stupendous.
Also on our list of games of the week is a conference face-off in the SEC. Alabama dismantled Arkansas.
The Alabama Crimson Tide made the most of their opportunity to move up, and that's going to serve them very well as we get closer to conference tournament time, even if it's just in seeding position. Alabama was going into this game looking to build some momentum, and I think they did it, Greg. This win really impressed me just in the way the players carried themselves. They looked to me like a team that could really get into a groove and start doing some serious damage to their opponents.
That's our show. Hi, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel, joined at the anchor desk by my partner, Clark Kellogg. Next up on College Hoops Tonight, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. We'll preview some of the biggest games coming up this week in the NCAA, as well as show you the best action from around the nation. But we begin with a special player who was an easy choice as our player of the week in college basketball.
Huff is our choice this week, and he might be winning an even bigger award at the end of the year. There's a lot of talk about him as a player of the year candidate.
No argument here. He was red hot with a total of 54 points. He simply could not be stopped. His touch around the basket was so silky, it had to make you think of some of the college game's great all-time scorers. I think we're going to see a few records in this young man's hand by the time all is said and done, if this week is any indication. Now let's take a look ahead to the games that get top billing on the schedule in the days to come. The conference tournaments are upon us, and no matchup looms larger. This game is a crucial grudge match between a pair of the best teams in the Pac-10.
Arizona State would be my pick here. They're so strong on the inside that I believe they'll be just too tough to match up with. It would really surprise me if that talent discrepancy on the inside doesn't tell the tale of this game.
And there's another game on the agenda that's too juicy to ignore. This conference tournament showdown should have more action than a typical game between these teams in the Big East.
Rutgers should come out on top if I had to make a prediction. Their backcourt is so solid this year, and their guards love to get out and run. That gives them a huge advantage in a game that should be as fast-paced as this one will be.
There was no shortage of excitement on the court in the past few days, so let's take a look at our games of the week. We had the kind of upset this week that makes college hoops so unpredictable and so exciting. Northwestern beat Indiana.
Yeah, Greg, nobody saw this coming. Indiana is going to lose their spot at the top of the poll for sure after this loss. Dolman was the hero of this one with a terrific performance. His 18 points led all scorers. Watching him basically put his teammates on his back and single-handedly carry them to the victory in a big game situation like this was stupendous.
And two of the sport's traditional powerhouses squared off in a meeting of college basketball royalty. Kentucky was victorious over Arkansas.
These teams are woven into the fabric of college basketball, and even the casual fan is interested when they're on the court together. Kentucky was going into this game looking to build some momentum, and I think they did it, Greg. This win really impressed me just in the way the players carried themselves. They looked to me like a team that could really get into a groove and start doing some serious damage to their opponents.
That's our show, everybody. It is an annual rite of spring, bringing with it excitement and emotion that can be found in no other sporting event, the NCAA tournament. Your wait is finally over, the brackets are ready, and the drama of March Madness is about to begin. Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel, and this is the NCAA Championship Basketball Selection Show, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. Joining me at the anchor desk, as always, my partner, Clark Kellogg. We're all set to show you the seedings and pairings, so get out your bracket sheet, get those pencils ready. Here are the basics. Of the 65 available tournament bids, 31 are automatically given to conference champions. The tournament committee hands out the remaining 34 bids on an at-large basis. An opening round game will take place on Tuesday night to narrow the field to 64 teams. But before we unveil the brackets for this season, here's a look at the final top 25 media poll of the season. There's one big change you'll notice in the rankings. A new team is sitting pretty in the top spot. The Indiana Hoosiers climbed to the number 1 spot after a terrific finish to their season. The Duke Blue Devils were the number 1 team, but slipped after spending 1 week at the top. The poll voters have had their say in the national ranking since November, but the time has come to hand over the reins to the selection committee. Now let's take a look at the NCAA tournament bubble and see which teams are sitting at home with their fingers crossed, hoping to see their name in the brackets. There are a lot of worthy candidates among these 10 teams, Clark. Which of these bubble teams stands out to you right now?
LaSalle could have sealed their invitation with a better regular season finish, but the fact is they play in a very tough conference, and that does weigh heavily in their favor.
And we have a few more teams in similar position, right, Clark?
Rhode Island did just enough to get on the bubble, but I'm not sure they did enough to get off the bubble. There may have been a few too many bumps in the road for them.
I'm sure it's been a long week for those teams, but the wait's almost over. The NCAA selection committee has finished its meeting, and we're ready to unveil the top 4 seeds in this year's tournament. The Indiana Hoosiers are the top overall seed, and they will play in the East Regional. They've just taken over the top spot in the media poll, and they are the number 1 team in the eyes of the selection committee as well. We'll soon find out if they can live up to their billing. On to the second number 1 seed, who will play in the Houston Regional. The LSU Tigers are seeking their first ever NCAA championship. The Villanova Wildcats are our third number 1 seed, and they'll play in the St. Louis Regional. They're back in the tournament again, and no doubt they'll be feeding off the experience of last year's appearance as they try to get to the Final Four this year. And finally, our fourth number 1 seed will play in the West Regional. The Duke Blue Devils are in the tournament field as a number 1 seed for the 16th time in the history of their program. Now, here's how the brackets shape up based on where the number 1 seeds have been assigned. In one national semifinal game, the winner of the East Regional will play the winner of the Houston Regional. In the other semifinal game, the winner of the St. Louis Regional will play the winner of the West Regional. Those games will be played on Saturday, March the 31st. Then it'll be on to the national championship game on Monday night, April the 2nd. Any surprises in there for you, Clark?
Not really. We talked all week about these 4 teams being the solid number 1 seed, and I think the selection committee got it right. There isn't a whole lot of controversy with these picks.
So with the number 1 seeds out of the way, it's finally time to tackle the rest of the brackets. First up, we take a look at the East Regional. The Indiana Hoosiers are the top seed, finishing at 27-7. They were conference tournament champions in the Big Ten. They will take on the winner of the opening round play-in game between Norfolk State with 14 wins and Furman from the Southern Conference. And now the number 8 seed, the St. Joseph's Hawks, come into the tournament as the 4th place team in their conference during the regular season and were winners of their conference tournament. They're going to play the number 9 seed, the Iowa State Cyclones, who were second in their conference, finishing at 20-10. Kentucky enters the field as the number 4 seed from the SEC. It's yet another appearance in the brackets for a school that's no stranger to the NCAA tournament. They'll be getting ready to face the number 13 seed, the Creighton Blue Jays. Finished the season with 18 wins.
The Kentucky Wildcats will be an extremely dangerous team in this tournament, mainly because they have such terrific veteran leadership. Coaches love when they have guys on the floor that have been around the block a few times because they don't get rattled. They play with composure. I look at the experience of this team as something that could put them over the top.
Michigan comes in as the number 5 seed, finishing at 22-8. And they will take on the 12th seed from the Northeast Conference, the Terriers of St. Francis, with 21 wins. Next up is the number 2 seed. The Clemson Tigers are the conference tournament champions from the ACC. They'll be going up against the number 15 seed, the High Point Panthers, with 15 wins. This is their 3rd appearance ever in the NCAA tournament. Our number 7 seed is from the Big 12. The Oklahoma Sooners were rewarded for their outstanding play this season with an at-large bid and a ticket to the big dance. They are going to play the number 10 seed, the Buffalo Bulls, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 23-8. Maryland comes in as the number 3 seed, finishing at 23-8. Centenary comes in to face them at number 14 with 19 wins in the tournament and regular season championships of the Mid-Continent Conference. The Mississippi State Bulldogs are in as the number 6 seed. They'll be taking on the number 11 seed, the Florida Gators, with 22 wins. This bracket has the potential to give us a sensational matchup in the regional final if everything goes according to form and the top 2 seeds can survive the early rounds. Next up, we'll take a look at the Houston Regional. The LSU Tigers are the top seed, finishing at 25-6. They won both the regular season and conference tournament titles in the SEC. They'll take on the Tribe of William and Mary, the number 16 ranked team. This is their third appearance all time in the NCAA tournament. Tulsa comes in as the number 8 seed, finishing at 22-6. Toledo comes in to face them at number 9 with 19 wins and the regular season championship of the MAC. Kansas State comes in as the number 4 seed, finishing at 21-9. And they'll take on the 13th seed from the Ivy League, the Princeton Tigers, with 14 wins. Providence enters the field as the number 5 seed from the Big East. This marks their 25th appearance in the NCAA tournament in school history. They'll be getting ready to face the number 12 seed, the Lafayette Leopards, finished the season with 22 wins.
The Providence Friars are a team that is just so powerful and strong up front. I would put their front court up against just about any other teams in the nation right now. It's always good to have strong guard play, but if you ask most coaches, I guarantee you they take the good big man over the good little man most times. Their interior play should serve them very well in this competition.
Our number 2 seed is from the Big East. The Syracuse Orange are on a hot streak, having just won their conference tournament championship. They're going to play the number 15 seed, the Colorado State Rams, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 16-17. Next up is the number 7 seed. The Oregon State Beavers are the regular season champions from the Pac-10. They'll be going up against the number 10 seed, the Virginia Tech Hokies, with 18 wins. They return once more to the very familiar surroundings of the NCAA tournament. The Red Storm of St. John's are in as the number 3 seed. They'll be taking on the number 14 seed, the Tennessee Martin Skyhawks, with 18 wins. And now the number 6 seed, the Ohio State Buckeyes, come into the tournament after finishing second in their conference during the regular season and were losers in their first game at their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 11 seed, the Rhode Island Rams, who were 5th in their conference, finishing at 18-11. I think this could wind up being the bracket that brings us this year's Cinderella story. A few of the higher seeds here have had terrific seasons, and I'll be surprised if at least one of them doesn't put together a long run in this tournament. On to our third bracket of the day. Let's take a look at the St. Louis Regional. The Villanova Wildcats are the top seed, finishing at 25-9. They finished second in the Big East. They'll take on the UC Riverside Highlanders, the number 16 ranked team. This is their 6th appearance all time in the NCAA tournament. Our number 8 seed is from the SEC. The Alabama Crimson Tide were rewarded for their outstanding play this season with an at-large bid and a ticket to the big dance. Vanderbilt enters the field as the Virginia Cavaliers are in as the number 5 seed. They'll be taking on the number 12 seed, the New Orleans Privateers, with 19 wins. West